Welcome back. President Trump injected himself into Minnesota politics by endorsing MyPillow founder Mike Lindell in the Republican primary for governor. Political reporter Danny Spiewak spoke with Lindell about the endorsement and what it means for the race.
President Donald Trump shook up the Minnesota governor's race with his endorsement of MyPillow founder Mike Lindell. He called him a patriot, saying that he was the best choice for Minnesota to take them out of, quote, oblivion and embarrassment. But the president's endorsement typically means a lot in a primary. The endorsed candidates across the country that he chooses typically win their primaries. But Minnesota is a very interesting race this year on the Republican side because you have Mike Lindell, who's basically running against the state party establishment, which called this endorsement surprising and has said that Lindell, they believe, is unelectable. The other two candidates in this race in the primary are State House Speaker Lisa Demuth, who has a pretty big fundraising edge, and then Kendall Qualls, a businessman who is the state party endorsed candidate after winning over delegates at the party convention in May. We got a chance to talk to Mike Lindell earlier this week about the endorsement from President Trump and get his reaction to what the state party said about him. The party released a statement saying that you have serious financial baggage, public records showing tens of thousands of dollars in delinquent property taxes, significant electability concerns. What do you make of that response from the state party?
Well, they're just a uniparty attack by Alex, the head of our GOP here in Minnesota. We've got to get rid of. I'm going to put out a whole statement I have ready here. We're going to do that press release in about 15 minutes where I'll give you a full statement. But shame on him and shame on that party. When I came into this race last December, they would not let me because I wasn't going to honor the endorsement. They wanted everybody to honor the endorsement that the GOP in Minnesota had been doing by 1,500 or 2,000 people picking the candidate for everyone else in Minnesota. I'm polling number one and have for over a year.
Demuth and Qualls have both said that they support the president's policies. And even though the endorsement went to Lindell, from the president at least, both of those candidates have pledged to move forward, say they can unite the party in November. Meanwhile, Senator Amy Klobuchar is the presumptive DFL nominee for governor in November. She said in a brief statement that Mike Lindell may be President Trump's choice, but that she hopes to be Minnesota's choice. I'm Danny Spiewak, KARE 11 News.
That primary election is set for August 11th. This afternoon, employees at Kings Road Merch are facing the possibility of losing their jobs. That's after the company that runs a Minneapolis area merchandise warehouse announced it was shutting it down after workers voted to unionize there. Nasir Akalvi explains.
The staff is united at Kings Road Merch.
This is a place for like weirdos and outsiders.
Cesar Esparza has spent the past 14 years helping pack and ship merchandise for some of the biggest local and national bands, recreating for us their daily warehouse routine. But then the company was bought out by Sony last July.
Everything went downhill. Pay, the ability to hire, and just, I would say, like the irresponsibility on Sony's management to even like handle any of our discrepancies. They've been like completely silent.
Inspired by the anti-ICE general strikes in Minneapolis, Esparza says the staff decided to unionize. But Esparza says what happened next took the staff by surprise.
Our Teamsters representative, who's been working with us in negotiation and bargaining, he called me 2 hours before our meeting and says, hey, I have some really bad news. Sony just informed me that they're closing the warehouse.
The decision would end the employment of Esparza and 17 others.
So yeah, you're right. So the timing of the announcement seems very suspicious. That's a red flag. That they announced this thing right before the bargaining. It's a very bright red flag.
Aaron Sojourner is a senior economist with the Upjohn Institute.
The principle in the law is very clear that the employer is not allowed legally to retaliate against workers for unionizing or their facility because of the workers unionized.
Esparza is undeterred by Sony's actions.
That, yeah, you demoralized us 2 weeks ago, but now we're more motivated than we ever had before. And we were going to keep this warehouse open, and we're more committed than ever we have been in the past, and we're going to win.
Well, Sony responded saying the decision to close the warehouse was made before the union vote and it will shut down in September. They said workers will get a severance. Summer's time to slow down, spend more time outdoors, travel, and enjoy the warm weather. But experts say it can also be a great time to invest in ways to give your brain a boost. Mandy Gaither has more.
The days are longer, the weather is warmer, and for parents, there's a break from the busy school year routine. So summer is a perfect time for small shifts to healthier habits.
All of these small changes, according to research, can make a bigger impact than overhauling your life.
Clinical psychologist Susan Albers with Cleveland Clinic says summer is one of the best times to reset mental health. And she says self-care doesn't have to be expensive or complicated.
It can be as simple as taking a walk outside, starting a new hobby, making a phone call to a friend.
Albers says safe sun exposure outdoors can boost the mood and lower the blood pressure. Add in some exercise and it'll release feel-good hormones that can help you be happier, acting as a natural antidepressant. And she says to try something new.
Our brains love novelty. It helps us to stay curious, engaged, and alert. It's a great time to visit a new museum, take a drive somewhere you've never been.
Albers says social connections are critical for mental health, so invite a friend for some summer fun. And since what we eat impacts how we feel, she says to take advantage of some of the tastiest healthy foods now in season.
During the summer, fruits and vegetables are at their peak. They're freshest. So we're naturally motivated to eat a wide variety and range of colorful foods that nourish our brain and our body.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Stick with us. More news and weather's coming up after the break.